Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Marketing Momentum with Charles and Deborah.
Hello, everybody.
That just rolls off like for a year. I was trying to make myself say something different, and it just like comes out just like butter.
Yeah, right on.
So I have to confess, I just watched the YouTube that you sent over now. So I'm like really eager to talk about it, but I'm not even sure topic-wise. I'm gonna let you introduce it because I'm eager to talk about it, but we have to define what it is.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, and I tend not to click on the stuff that's trending on Facebook just because I just don't click on that stuff. And so it was 4 in the morning, as it can be, and so I go to this thing, and it's the Telsa video, and I'm guessing a lot of people have seen it if the statistics are right. A growing number of people are seeing these videos about the Telsa car and the reactions of the people in the car when they hit what they call the insane button. Now, that's just what they called it. So they hit the insane button, and I guess this car goes from 0 to 60 in about, I mean, all in less than a second or two. So in
It
other
looks
words,
like it.
yeah, it hits the button. They hit the button, and the car is at 60. And so what you're watching in the videos is the people's reaction to, and of course, in some of the videos, I guess they tried to clean up some of the language in some of the videos. Not a good job. They tried to bleep over some stuff, but the reactions of people were, um, I think, worth noting, and because for the first time, I mean, with that video, I'm guessing Telsa doesn't mind if people copy it. I guess they don't mind if people use it over. None of that stuff matters, and I guess they've got a particular kind of product that they're trying to get out there. But to me, I mean, really, the point is, video marketing is, kind of starts with, and I guess we'll be talking about this today, is having something phenomenal to really present, right? Whether it's the information, whether it's the thing you're showing, and it really just started with this really, I mean, fantastic thing they had where a car can go 0 to 60, and you get to see the customers or potential customers reaction. And I guess, if you can make, your customer, I guess if they're so happy about it that they swear, then you have
That's
something.
exactly. Oh, they have. I love the one with the little kid, and I'm sure that this video, it's only like 3 minutes and 15 seconds. I saw the clean version. I don't know if there's a difference in length, but it's got, there's somebody that everybody can relate to, but the little kid is like laughing at his sister. And then for some reason it just grabbed me where it's like, well, yeah, and you didn't know that this could go 0 to 60. Look at you and
Right,
all.
yeah.
So I mean, there's so many different reactions, or like the lady, I think it was right after that, where she says, I have to have this every morning.
Right. And I'll tell you, um, I'll be counting my pennies for the rest of this year. I'm sold. I don't know when I can get one. I want one now.
3 minutes and 15 seconds, and that did it.
That's all it took. I mean, I'm not gonna be, selling all my worldly possessions, but I want one of those things.
It's like the lady said, I need one of these every morning.
Right. Yeah. And so, man, to me, and I know, it's the whole. I don't even think that this is about trying to make a video go viral, right? I don't even think it's about that. I think it's, and whether or not it was trending on Facebook. I think I would have seen this video if nobody ever. I think somebody would have said to me, "You have got to see this. You have got to see this because now I want to get in one. I want to go someplace where I can get in this thing."
Well, it's kind of like you sent over the other article, and I didn't read all of the bullet points because I was really stuck on the Nat King Cole. I was like, I'm hearing, unforgettable, the
That's
whole
right.
thing. But I mean, that makes the point where it's like, right, unforgettable. You're thinking, and that really is actually an unforgettable song, in my opinion. But the whole list of things where they're memorable, they're unforgettable, and that's what's happening with this video.
Yeah, and so I mean, and I know a lot of the people that are listening to the show or watching the show, they're marketing consultants, and sometimes, and we've talked about this before. It's part of our job to go back to the customer and tell them whether or not they're doing a product or service. Instead of just taking it and taking the check, is to go back and say, okay, this is great, but it's like everybody else's. You need to go back and take this thing and make it into something a little better. You need to go back and take this and make it into something that people are going to say, wow, or something where it's not just, and it's not, listen, I have no problem with doing SEO or social media, but it's a lot easier when you have something that is just head and shoulders above what people are expecting.
That makes sense. Now, okay, I don't know if this inspired you picking this out or it was just completely coincidental, but it's amazing how it fits. And I have to be really careful how I say this because I don't want to say anything on air negative, but there's somebody that we both know, and I've been chatting with him over the past week, and
Yeah,
it is so relevant to what you just said as far as what I've been saying to him is like, look, your message, because one of the things he was upset that we didn't have an hour to have like a demo. I said,
yeah,
first of all, I don't
yeah.
have an hour for a demo. If it
Right.
takes you in your marketing message, if it takes you 60 minutes to explain this to me, I'm not interested. I mean, it's like we all have, somebody said all have ADD or ADHD when it comes to social media marketing. You
We
need to
do.
do the 15-second pitch to get me interested to listen, and then your whole thing needs to take about 3 minutes or less to describe what it is you do. I still, to this day, and again, I'm not going to say his name, but I don't know what this product is.
And if and in that 3 minutes in that 15 seconds, um, and again it goes back to copy. But even I think it's even before the copywriting. And I know you can take a dog and you can turn a dog into you can sell anything, right? Good marketing can take a mediocre product and get it out there. But why have something mediocre? Why well and you know we've all got to work, right? But why go to the marketplace with something that's just okay and then try to turn it into something by doing all of the tricks that are available to folks? And again, I'm all for doing everything you can to make sure that your testing is right, that your linking is right, that your Hootsuite and all the other stuff is working. But man, if you've got a car right now and you're up against that, you know, the Telsa, and you're just everybody's talking about this, and they want one. People
Mhm.
want that now. They're just trying to figure out how to get the money to get it, and that's to me the difference between that's marketing that really creates a desire, but it starts with the product.
And it's so, I looked at the time right away because, well, part of it was because it's like, do I have time to watch all of this before before the show? But it's like, look, I go 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Okay, how believable. But if something can make me want to buy in 3 minutes and 15 seconds, they've done a really good job of marketing.
And I guess you know part of our industry is we use webinars to sell things, and so I guess that the psychology of the webinar is supposed to be that you are really trying to take a sales letter and you're trying to turn it. I think what Jeff Walker says, right, the product launch guy, is that you in a launch you're taking the sales letter, you're turning it sideways and you're stretching it out over 10 days. And I guess in a webinar you're supposed to be taking the sales letter, turning it sideways, stretching it out over an hour. But still, though, I think what you're saying and alluding to is in the first 15 seconds, the first 5 seconds, you have to make me want to stay on the webinar. And how many times, even for a phenomenal speaker, I mean just somebody that you really want to hear. Hey, if I got something to do, I'm not staying on the webinar. And so most of us who are marketers aren't staying on webinars. We'll bookmark it to go back to it. And so, I mean, yeah, I mean, you're really just making the point. I mean, man, you got 5 or 10 seconds to make me want to stay on this thing.
I confess I'm the worst when it comes to webinars. As far I get so distracted and I forget and I'll like walk away from it. It's really hard to keep my attention.
And yet when you're given one, you're like, where's everybody going?
Exactly. It's gotta be so interesting.
Pay attention. I'm sharing something important here, you know, that kind of thing. So
But that's part of the reason too. We even changed our format as far as marketing momentum. It used to be, did we start out with 60 minutes? I can't even remember. I got to go back to
yeah,
iTunes and now they're like 15 to 18 minutes because I don't even have that. Even though I think we're the most wonderful thing in the world, I don't have the attention span.
Right. Yes. Right. Yes. What people are missing. Right. Yes. No. It is true, and I think um, y- 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 the so much of what we have now is I mean it's still communicating to people and making them want something, right? But you have all these tools that are available. You have the visual medium, you have the audio medium, you have music, and then some people and can really. I guess the thing about what we saw in the video was I don't know Elon Musk, right? I didn't know the Tulsa before that, so they kind of built that relationship with me sight unseen, and so that I mean that's which is fantastic when you can do that. Now, what we do have as little guys, right? We can all kind of make sure we understand the market and the customer well enough to be able to not have to have the flashiest or the best headline, but to really be able to just say those words in that language that people really understand. Now, one of the things I really saw in that Tulsa, in a number of those videos, is that, of course, a lot of the people that are really, doing a lot of the swearing and really thought it was really, really fantastic, they were guys, right? And so this was
Interesting
just
point. I
I
was like,
mean, it was right. It was a direct to a man's heart. I mean, you're probably gonna go, to the way you get to a man's heart is probably through a V8 engine and through his stomach. And so if you get there, if you get to both places first, you win. And I mean, I think those commercials. And I read the comments to a person. I mean, the guys are going gaga over this thing, right? None of that. This is phony. You know how comment areas can be.
mhm.
This is I mean, there wasn't a lot of that in there. It was really a lot. This is awesome. I'm getting one. Can I get one cheap? Is the GM? Is it even close to all of those things? And also, what's interesting was BMW is running video ads on those videos.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't caught that. That is really interesting. No, is that why you say this caters to guys? But that's why the first thing, even though obviously I noticed that they're guys in the video, but the thing that I tuned into were the two kids and the woman, which says something
Yeah.
about my gender.
Maybe I don't know. It just really I think it really just captures the whole spirit. I know we were going to talk, and I think that's part of what we were talking about the Gary V article, which is as marketers, you know um, it's yes, branding is important, but at some point as marketers, it's not just about our personal brand. I mean that is a portion of what we do, but at some point, and there's some chart now. I guess we've seen it in the group that we're in, that the number of people who are in marketing has grown astronomically. And so how do you set yourself apart as a marketer over all that noise, over all the social media ninjas, over all the people who are really smart, right? And people who have come from other industries. How do you set yourself apart? Well, at some point you have to go and do something for somebody that's fantastic.
That makes sense. I just interviewed someone and they wanted my position that I have for a nonprofit. But I sent over this, hey, I've got this great plan, blah, 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 blah. And I said to the CEO, I said, if you look at the plan, it's a template. I can go download this somewhere. I gotta be careful what I say. I might have to bleep out part of this, but but you can go download this and it's basically just your standard boilerplate marketing plan. And I find that with so many of the people, it's like, oh, I'm a marketer, I'm a marketer. And I'm even hesitant to say that myself, even though I've done marketing, but I don't know if I
Hmm.
want to go out and say I am a marketer because I feel like that, to me, that benchmark is a very impressive benchmark that I don't know if we arrive before we die to be able to say I am, like I am the Tony Robbins of marketing. But there's so many people out there that say I'm a marketer and it's boilerplate marketing plans.
It is, and really and again, I think it's a good thing, right? And that's I guess in earlier days, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years ago, It was new, and even to small businesses. And the pitch to marketers at that time was, hey, you should be working with small businesses. They need to understand how to market themselves on the internet. If you know how to build a WordPress website, you can go and work for them because they don't know as much as you know. And again, that was probably true then, right? But now, at this point, you got a lot of people who, of course, they know how to build a WordPress website. They know how to do SEO. They know how to do all this stuff. And so you and I, and probably our listening audience, have to be able to get, for lack of better words, in order to be called a marketer, we have to bring buyers. We have to bring somebody. I mean, even the whole business about traffic. Yeah, I mean, traffic is not sexy anymore. It isn't. It's just traffic. Neither is a viral video. It's cool. It's not necessarily buying customers.
That makes sense. You know, when you said buyers, I'm thinking like people buying advertising. I'm thinking buying the marketing, but you're not buyers as in whatever the product or service you're selling. At some point, cut all the crap that's around it and actually have a conversion.
Yeah, I read an article, I think in can't remember what I was listening to a podcast, and it wasn't a marketing podcast. It was about how a number of advertising firms are just kind of going out of business, right? Because the marketing has changed, and because a lot of the big companies are now consolidating a lot of their stuff, and they're going to what they call the web. And so, I mean,
New thought, no?
what, yes, the web, yeah. And so, but it still seems like, you know, trying to bring people. Companies are now saying, whatever you want to call it, ROI. You know, is this money I'm spending bringing me people who are going to buy my stuff? And if they're not, what are you going to tell me to do? What are you going to help me to do in order to get people to buy something? And I think I've talked about this book before. The Goal, and this dude who does the theory of constraints, right? That talks about if you don't understand well enough how to get people to buy something, then you've got to go back to change what you're selling, even if that means changing your whole operation, because the market is telling you this is what we really want, and if you can really produce this, I'll buy this and I'll pay more for it. Then as a marketer, you've got to then be able to go back to the person you're working for and saying, we can do much better if you can make this. This is so in other words, our job is really to bring the intelligence back to the customer and say, this is what people want. And I know you're not making this right now, but nobody else is making it. Figure out how to make it cost effectively, bring it out, and we're going to make a lot of money.
So in other words, what I did, I thought of it as I was just offering friendly advice, even though he didn't ask me for it. But what I did by responding to the person that we both know, I said, here's what you really need to do. You need to go back to the CEO, and you need to figure out what it is that you're offering and put that into a message that we understand. And then you need to ensure that that's really what your audience is looking for. So to me, I wasn't thinking of that as marketing advice. I was thinking of it as business advice. But what you're saying is there's a portion of, as a marketing specialist, if you're working for a client, a company, whatever, part of that is common sense business advice to say, hey, I'm out there in the market, and what you're selling, the way you're selling it right now, isn't working because no one's buying.
Right. Yeah, and that's really what the folks in the Tulsa and out there in Tulsa, Elon Musk and whatever they're doing. I need to do more reading about them.
It's like perfume. No.
Yeah, it does sound like that, right? Yeah, a 70s perfume at that.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. There we go.
But that's what they're doing, which is, it's not just about, I mean, yeah, we all have the buzz in our head about an electric car. All of us want to save money on gas. And of course, depending on your live, you'll just pay more taxes now. But that's beside the point. But now, if you but we all have the electric car buzz in our head. But now Tulsa is now just taking it up another level. They're saying, man, this can be exciting. This can be something that and again, they're getting inside of the heads of people who are going to go out, and they're not thinking, a guy's not going to think practical about a car. He's just not going to.
A girl is.
And in some cases she might and she might not. My wife's a little more practical, but I'm telling you that if I had 30,000 pennies right now, I'd go get a Telsa.
You wouldn't be here because you'd be off getting. Exactly.
Of course, I might have to live in it, right? Yeah, if I got it right.
But you know what? They actually, okay, I know I keep bringing this up, and it's just like, it's showing how comprehensive it really was as far as their campaign. The fact that, because when I saw those two little kids, I thought, oh no, they're going to go flying. Like, I would see like kid brains mount. It's like, how could they put the kids in there? And then when they showed that the kids were safe, that's a practical side. And then the kids were laughing. It's like, oh, okay. So as a wife that doesn't mind if her husband goes out and spends, as long as the bills are paid, go spend your money. As a wife, I can say on the practical side, oh, good, it won't kill the kids,
Yeah. So I mean, really, and I guess what is it? People quote Seth Godin all the time that BMW says, we have a marketing department. It's called engineering, and which is really cool. And I guess if a marketer's job is just selling and just reaching the customer, then part of it is not just reaching the customer. Part of it's got to be reaching back to the people who are even if the product is an information product, right? It's reaching back into the lab and saying, okay, I'm going to create something now that I know where people are struggling, and I know they'll buy it if I can make it. And so you spend the time and you uncover whatever you got to uncover in order to give people what's really going to make them pay now, right? If you can make somebody pull their wallet out now as a marketer, I mean, that's the job. That's going to the point where you're not just positioning yourself as a social media expert. It's real results.
It reminds me of last night on WebTools TV. I interviewed. I shouldn't say that because I'll actually date this. But anyway, at some point in time, I interviewed Dave Schneider for Ninja Outreach, and that was one of the things. He was so approachable and so transparent in his presentation. And basically, I don't know if it's still beta, but I mean, it just released within the last few weeks or very recently. And what I liked is that you could get in. It's got some components that are comparable to Vocus. It's not Vocus. It's on a smaller scale, but it's a lot more approachable because Vocus is what, $300 to $500 a month.
Yeah.
This was $19.99. Yes. But the nice thing was you can actually get in and you can use it, and it's beta. So, and that's another approach that people can take, is even if I agree with you that it's got to be something that someone can buy, but even if your product or service isn't quite to the point where you want it to be, just be honest about it. Say, look, we're trying this out, and this is a great time to get in and give your feedback so we can improve the product.
Yeah. I mean, and really giving, and what that does, as you said, you get to see what people are really going to use. You get a chance to watch people, and people, in order to get the pricing, what they're giving up is they're giving you information about what it is you're doing. We're agreeing to be guinea pigs. You can watch me while I use your stuff, and that's a fair exchange. I think we talked last week about Uber. I put the app on there. Somebody gave me 20 free Uber dollars. Now I haven't tried it yet. Maybe by next time that we actually do it, I'll actually try it. But I think that a lot of these startups, whether you like the management, and I've heard that Uber's management is just kind of a little, they're kind of like these cowboys, and they make all these statements. But again, what they've done is, if you call it disruptive, they've changed things, and now it's in people's brains now that, hey, I don't have to pay $35 for a cab to go to the airport. I can call up this dude I know. He's an Uber driver. He'll take me there for $20. that changes everything. That's phenomenal. And whatever they've done in order to get it into the hands of people, I think what their marketing campaign is that I can now give $20 to anybody that I know to try Uber for 20 free dollars. I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know how they're going to pay the drivers for these rides that they're doing, but I was not going to try Uber for another 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, or even until I thought about it. This thing came to me. I said $20 free dollars. I'm going to try it now. And I think that's part of our job is you could say it's good or bad, but I mean that's our job, to get people to move their purchases into a place where we can really thrive as a company or a marketer or however we're working, with a client.
That's like PayPal. When you were saying that, I was thinking when I first heard, and way back when, X.com was like the banking, like that was the big guy banking. And I think, did they merge with PayPal? PayPal was around the same time, but I think someone sent me a penny on PayPal. And I remember like, this is so ridiculous. You're sending money by email. And it's like, well, it's like you were saying as far as, okay, it's a penny, I lose a penny, big deal. I lose a dollar, big deal. Well, try it. And now it's like, people are thinking, well, of course, PayPal's been around forever. No, the internet has been around forever, and neither has cell phone. Even has electricity if you want to go that far enough. But it's like, yeah, you can email money, and now the
Yeah,
banks allow you to email money. So, I mean, but at some point, somebody, cowboy or not, had to have the idea and actually go with it enough to shift the thinking.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's really, again, I think that's we were gonna kind of talk about Gary V, but everybody's talked about Gary V, so if he doesn't get any more discussion, it's cool. But I
Maybe
mean,
get on the next show.
right, he can do without one more person talking about what he said. But really, that whole vibe is just true, which is at some point your focus has got the branding is kind of secondary to the branding is secondary to producing what somebody wants, whether it's the customer, the client, or whoever it is. And you can do a lot of damage by focusing on doing that. And I've really been thinking about a lot about, we're trying to do a workshop here in Harrisburg. And so you know how do you reach people locally in order to tell them about a workshop you're doing? Well, of course, you want to,
Stand at the grocery store? No.
yeah, or the little tear sheets of um but is but how much time am I going to spend on SEO? How much time am I going to spend on doing the right social media rather than making the workshop phenomenal, right? Making it, I mean, just making it so that the two people who come, let's say two people come, my mother and my dog or something, the two people who come, and it is just, it's literally the best thing that's ever been done. If I make it that, then is there a tipping point at which that's going to give me the kind of inflow into the business that I really want, versus spending all the time on making sure my social media strategy is right, making sure my LinkedIn profile is right, making sure all those things are just right. Where's the balance?
I'm still looking for that balance. I'm perfectionist, so it's like, all right, I got to get everything in order, and then it's like, oh wow, that was a great idea 3 years ago. Now somebody else has done it.
Right.
At some point, hit the launch button.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's the dilemma, right? And so how do you go back and make what you're delivering, um, as we said, unforgettable, versus the marketing unforgettable, right? Um,
Combination.
it's got to be that combination. You and I probably both remember when Hyundai. I mean, if you had a friend that bought a Hyundai, you'd be kind of look at him kind of sideways, kind of like, are you sure you want to buy a Hyundai? And then all of a sudden they did a couple of Super Bowl ads, very well done. right?
Hmm.
And they probably had, and I don't know if they had changed that much before they did the Super Bowl ad. They were probably still a Hyundai, but the whole perception had changed. It was a great. So you're right. It is the balance. They decided to go for the big score to get on the Super Bowl. Who would have thought that you'd have seen a Hyundai commercial in prime time at the Super Bowl? But that's what they did.
At that time, that didn't seem like it would be like at the Super Bowl. No, I mean I may not be a Super Bowl, but I get the Super Bowl advertising.
And those of us who grew up with it were still saying, yeah, but it's still a Hyundai.
That's like a gremlin or a no.
Exactly right. Yes. Nice commercial, but yes, it's still a
It's still
Hyundai.
a Hyundai. So Charles, what can we conclude as far as a call to action or something for people to go actually do before
Yeah,
next week? What's a good practice opportunity?
I think to make your whatever it is you're selling, and if you're working with a client, figure out if what they're bringing to the market really is worth a great marketing plan, right? Is it worth a great marketing plan? If not, what can be done to it to make it unforgettable? What can be make it to make it uh, to make it top notch? And then to also then put together that dynamic marketing plan that we're all really, really, really well versed in and skilled at.
Exactly. And maybe for you really academic, techie, geeky people, business oriented, do a Google search on SWOT analysis, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And that might, you don't have to stick to it, but it might get your juices kind of going so that you can, all of a sudden this lightning bolt will hit you and you have this great idea for marketing and for product.
Yeah, right
Except the
on.
other order, product and marketing. Excellent. Well, thank you, Charles. It's been a great, engaging conversation, and we'll have more for you next week on Marketing Momentum with Charles and Deborah.
Yeah, right on. Thanks a lot, Deborah. Bye bye, everybody.
And the music plays as Deb is looking for the stop broadcast.